fish is happy as soft through the waves they row. The fish on the land ain't happy, they sad cause they're in the boat.
The fish on the land ain't happy, they sad cause they're in their boat. Under the sea, under the sea, nobody beat us, fly us, and eat us in fricassee. We want the land that's left to cook. Under the sea, we off the hook. We got no trouble, life is the bubbles under the sea.
Ladies, gentlemen, and monsters of all ages. Sorry about that. Got a little water in my mouth. You know how it is. Now, before you get worried, Josh and I have already done all of our pro and noob recordings and such, so you still get to see my juicy first reactions at a later date. But I think right now, it's about time to properly introduce you all to someone else that is very juicy. Everyone, meet the master of the torrent, Namielle. Looking like a creature out of the deepest depths of the ocean and borrowing bits and pieces from a number of real-life deep-sea creatures, Namielle is one of the most unique-looking monsters in all of Monster Hunter. Before you even see her fight, just looking at her is honestly mesmerizing. I could easily spend an hour telling you what I love about each individual body part on this dragon, from the whiskers to the rows of terrifying teeth, but honestly, the thing that deserves the real spotlight here is her wing panel flap thing.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Whatever you'd call it, it looks awesome, even from above, which is before you get under it and see all of the lights, and even past the glowing beautiful lights, the actual little fingery bits at the ends of the wing are all individual little tentacle-like appendages that can bend in and be used properly as their own weapon. Honestly though, the thing that makes this fight special, truly special, is the fact that this is the Coral Highlands Elder Dragon. Namielle is to the Coral Highlands what Valhazak is to the Rotten Vale, and there is nothing sweeter than fighting an Elder Dragon in their proper natural habitat, with the entire area matching everything that happens visually within the fight. In fact, on that note, the whole area even responds to your fight, as engaging Namielle will eventually cause it to start raining. Just the whole map. Just as a response to the ridiculous amount of water she pumps out into the sky and the environment as a whole. Oh. And to cap it all off, her colors shift as she changes anger states and charges up, as well as her body both gaining and occasionally losing an entire layer of water-based armor, which is how she stores said water for the porpoise of blowing your face off. But how does she go about doing that exactly?
Did you ever think that maybe there's more to life than being really ridiculously good looking?
Namielle's fight itself is easily one of the most extravagant things in the series, and I would even put it as more of a spectacle than a number of giant monsters that purely exist to be a spectacle. The visuals of everything can be a little overwhelming at first, but only because it is hard to truly realize what you're looking at, and what you are looking at is pure, awe-inspiring beauty. As mentioned, Namielle builds a sort of water aura of armor on her skin. She pulls from this aura to shoot out, get this, beams, but not only normal beams like we see everywhere else that do normal beam things, but also a tiny thin little water beam, and also globs of water. And she creates little waves that travel along the puddles on the ground. 99% of her water-based attacks leave little puddles of water on the ground, which don't really affect you on their own, and they only exist to buff Namielle's abilities, and more importantly, to chain Namielle's abilities. For example, when the thin water beam hits a puddle, it causes a slightly delayed little geyser pop-up that will not hesitate to drench you entirely. Past this, a few of Namielle's physical attacks cause little gravity-like tremors in the water, which really messes with your movement.
Whoa.
But the coup de grace of these puddles is how Namielle interacts with them when she becomes all glowy and slightly electrically charged. See, Namielle's electricity works a lot like a jellyfish, in which the stings are painful and electric a little bit, but direct contact with skin won't do a huge amount, meaning any attacks that she does on just plain dry ground don't actually arc with electricity at all, past a slight visual flare on the animation itself. Wait, so she isn't a thunder monster? Well, she is when the ground is wet. What? When her little thunder-charged animations interact with a puddle on the floor, floor, it superheats the water and creates a blast of steam, almost like a little mine on the floor, which on top of looking just gorgeous, is actually really fun to try and manage, as the second you see she is charged up, you want to avoid puddle patches like the Plague. However, the patchy puddle Plague isn't a particularly threatening name. What is threatening though is her big bad super move, her equivalent to a dive bomb, to a supernova, and by God, just look at this. She ejects every last drop of water she has under her, then she electrically bombs it, expelling all of her electricity and causing a massive steamy explosion before flying away both empty of water and electricity, hoping to get some time to recharge while you chase her down. Past the elemental interactions and mechanics though, the thing that really gets me about her fight is just the way they chose to animate a number of attacks and movements, making her slide around occasionally if the ground is puddly enough, or her aerial strikes, which see her floating around and attacking with her wings almost exactly like a jellyfish would attack with its tentacles, or this little Disney villain stand still moment where she's pulling more water and she makes her wings go around her like a little protective cape. Well, the majority of her attacks are things that we have seen on a base level, things like beams and globs and flying strafe attacks, where the uniqueness of Namielle really comes from is both the amazingly detailed animations and the wonderful mechanics that interact with each other throughout the fight, from start to finish. And between that and how she looks and just fits into her environment, everything about Namielle is honestly just so special. If, like me, you are a sadistic bastard who chooses to wear the skin of the monsters you enjoy the most, you'll be happy to know that the Namielle armor set somehow actually does match just how goddamn hauntingly beautiful she is as a whole. Well, at least a lot of it does. The male beta set, however, looks much more like you belong in a glam rock opera. The set bonus, Namielle Divinity, gives you Elemental Acceleration, which as you repeatedly attack a monster, activates free element / ammo up, and increases your elemental damage continually. The bonus for 2Z activates level 2 free element, whereas the 4 set activates level 3, as well as a slightly stronger elemental boost. This part is known as True Elemental Acceleration. As a whole, the Alpha set has 5 Constitution, 3 Blight Resistance, 3 Tool Specialist, 3 Stamina Surge, and 2 ranks of Maximum Might to tie it off, with the head being the most usable singular piece for mixed set purposes. The only issue, of course, being that it has both Constitution and Maximum Might, which is a slightly counterintuitive combination, as usually you want Maximum Might on things that don't really need Constitution at all. The beta skills are 3 Constitution, 3 Tool Specialist, 3 Stamina Surge, 1 Blight Resistance, and 1 Maximum Might, with a very healthy dose of jewel slots to cap it off. As a whole, it looks like skill-wise we will struggle to find a good healthy spot for the full set in the meta. However, pieces like the Alpha Head with 3 Constitution or the Beta Legs with 2 Stamina Surge could find use in the utility section of certain builds, which is always nice to have more options for, especially if it is the Alpha Head, because I want my face inside of that thing right this instant!
Grease me up, woman!
As for weapons, there are actually a surprising amount of weapons that don't even get to see Namielle's beautiful image translated into their existence, which is a bit upsetting. However, the weapons that do, and the weapons that get a proper unique model especially, are absolutely astonishing, and all coming with a nice chunk of white sharpness and positive affinity, and the damage stat lines aren't horrible either. Here we have the Black Tornaria Longsword, the Hydros Discus Sword and Shield, the Hydros Hunting Horn, which is capable of some very elementally focused songs, as you'd probably expect from a monster with Namielle's set bonus, the Hydros Lance, the Black Yephura Gun Lance, which is a level 6 normal shelling weapon, the Black Strobila Chainsword,
No, it's a switch axe!
the Hydros Cardia Charge Blade, the Hydros Arcana Insect Glaive, the Black Attenula Light Bowgun, the Hydrolamos Heavy Bowgun, and last but absolutely not least, the Black Planula Bow. As a Hammerman, I would like to call a meeting with Greatsword and Dual Blades users, as we were absolutely robbed of some awesome weapon designs, but it's okay, don't worry. We have some pretty fantastic weapon designs in other places.
What you talking about, Will?
So suffice it to say, Namielle is easily one of, if not the, most beautiful creatures I have ever seen. And her fight is on the short list of monster encounters I think that I'll remember when I'm 96 years old, living on a deserted island off the coast of Panama after the shipwreck that happened when I went out to sea in search of a real-life Namielle to claim as my love. In short, I absolutely, completely, utterly adore her. Her fight, her armor, her weapons, and just everything she stands for, and you should too. Alright everyone, I've been Cotton Dinosaur, and this has been my new stalking victim, Namielle. Like if you liked the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. This is the brand new outro to tell you all the things that you do that we love, so let's start with something simple and say, oh, we love your eyes. When they're watching us play video games, when we make a bunch of jokes that are kinda lame, or when they gaze upon our failures as we try to kill the monsters or important news about the kingdom of Namielle. Rage, Cotton, and Hollow are all here, talking about the things you want to hear. So if you want to be the first to hear, like and subscribe and the bell and we'll cheer. Some of you are patrons, even though we are all the noobs and you're the pros. There's nothing we can do to thank you. No, really, there's nothing we could possibly do. Goodbye.